you're going to use them over and over and over again. So again, hopefully we can do that for you today. So here's a little bit of the science. So again, I'll try to make this as exciting as possible, all right? So there's really quite a number of what we call neurotransmitters or chemicals in the brain and the body that impact our emotions, okay? Serotonin is a big player in this. It is called our happy chemical because in essence what happens is when we have too low of serotonin is where individuals start to experience a lot of depression and anxiety, okay? So I want you to think about like a normal level of serotonin right here, okay? So individuals who experience chronic depression and anxiety typically have a low level of serotonin down here, okay? Now on the flip side, if we have individuals who experience a lot of mania, okay, their serotonin's way up here, okay? Now often, you know, and again, for years before I got into really focusing on non-pharmacological care, right, the discussion is use of medication to adjust those serotonin levels so you are at a, quote, normal level for your brain and your body. The interesting part is that a lot of the antidepressants or anti-anxieties only work on the chemistry in the brain, okay? And we're going to talk about why that's not that helpful when it comes to mental health treatment, because serotonin doesn't just lie in your brain. It actually is throughout your body. We're going to talk about that here in a second. So, so with that said, we want to try to talk about how can we get your serotonin to a better level. So there, as you see, it's found in the brain, but also found in the bowels and the blood platelets. Okay, so again, when we're talking about using antidepressants or anti-anxieties, it only targets the chemicals in the brain. It does not target the rest of your body. When we have a shortage of serotonin, it can cause sadness, low energy, low sex drive, irritability and anxiousness. We might want to crave sweets or have a poor appetite where we're eating a lot of junk food, poor memory, sleep concerns, and having a low self-esteem. So what can actually cause low levels of serotonin? Lots of different things. And so when we talk about, you know, the things that we're engaged in every day or medications that we might take or what we're eating, it's really important that we're looking at that because those very things could be the things that are lowering our serotonin level. So for example, if we have a deficiency in vitamin B or iron, those certainly can lower our serotonin levels. Too much caffeine, alcohol, drugs, nicotine, right? They always say, of course, less is more, or everything in moderation. So when we're overindulging in these kinds of things, it can contribute to low serotonin levels. I thought this was interesting is use of NutraSweet specifically when it comes to different types of sugars. So just be mindful of what you're putting in your coffee or other kinds of things that you sweeten up. If you're on cholesterol medications, these things can lower your serotonin levels. So what I would suggest is talking to your physician who's prescribing those to look at the type of medication that you're on. Is that a side effect? If it is, you kind of have to outweigh the risk versus benefit, right? So one, is there another cholesterol medication that might work for you that doesn't lower your serotonin levels specifically? Or two, you know, is there other measures you can do to manage your cholesterol so you can boost your mood? Those are kind of things, again, that you want to talk about with your physician or that we can talk about if you want to do any individual sessions. Definitely prolonged stress. And so we do often see firefighters, police officers, those in the military, and now, unfortunately, probably going to be our healthcare professionals dealing with low levels of serotonin, okay? Because they're, you know, these individuals, for extended period of time, are under a lot of stress, and so it is changing their brain and changing their chemistry in their body without them even knowing that. Lack of sunlight. We always know that sunlight's very important for us. It not only does help with managing our serotonin levels, but very beneficial helps with our vitamin D, helps with our melatonin in our body, all natural, again, chemicals that we need in order to have good mood, but also some other good things like pain management and things like that. Poor diet can also be a contributing factor. So not only will low serotonin levels affect, of course, your nutrition, but your nutrition can affect your serotonin levels. So it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? But definitely having a good diet overall is not only good for your serotonin levels, but good for lots of other things too. If you're not exercising, and so we always recommend around about 120 minutes a day. I'm sorry, 120 minutes a week at minimum. So whether that's a rigorous walk or it might be some low impact aerobic exercise, we do recommend about 120 minutes a week at minimum. Definitely hormone changes. So us ladies, right, we deal with hormone changes as we get older, right? If we're, of course, going through pregnancies or if we're reaching menopause, that can affect our serotonin levels. Any exposure to heavy metals or pesticides, unfortunately, so just being mindful of those kinds of things. And genetically, so there are individuals who are born with low serotonin levels. And so we tend to see some dysfunction in childhood, but really as they're getting older, anywhere between the age of 18 and 25 is where we really start to see a lot of like major depressive episodes, or we see a lot of anxiety disorders come out. And so there is where we understand that this individual, one, we would try non-pharmacological techniques, but they may benefit from a medication in conjunction with that.